What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Saturday, January 13th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East, from Asia, and from Eastern Europe. So I want to start with Yemen. So apparently, U.S.-led strikes on the Houthis destroyed around a quarter of the Iran-backed terror group's missile and drone launching capabilities, according to a New York Times report. Citing two U.S. officials, the newspaper says 20 to 30% of the Houthis' offensive capabilities were destroyed or damaged in the attacks, but that many of their weapons platforms are mobile and can be moved around. The officials also say it's been difficult to locate Houthi targets after years in which the U.S. and allied intelligence agencies did not make it a priority to gather such information. So, according to two U.S. officials, only 20 to 30% of the Houthis' offensive capabilities were destroyed in the operations over the last 2 days. There were three separate operations: Thursday night, last night, and then this morning. Okay. And President Joe Biden said on Saturday that the United States had delivered a private message to Iran about the Iran-backed Houthis responsible for attacking commercial shipping in the Red Sea. We delivered it privately and we're confident we're well prepared, Biden told reporters at the White House before departing to Camp David for the weekend. The Houthi movement threatened a strong and effective response after the United States carried out yet another strike on Yemen overnight. And here we have the article from Reuters. Okay, Biden said U.S. delivered private message to Iran. So I'm telling you guys, all roads lead to Iran. Okay, the Pentagon press secretary said the other day that it was all Iran's fault because they're the ones that are backing the Houthis and arming them. The U.S. Fifth Fleet was blaming Iran, saying that they've taken 5 ships and some 90 people captive from those ships. And now we also have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the U.S. and Israel have to denuclearize Iran. And he said that at a press conference today. He said, "We have an existential mission to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. That's my mission. That's our mission." And I said to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, "This must be your supreme mission." Wow, guys. Okay. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu openly saying that they have an existential mission to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. Okay. Existential, meaning that if Iran gets nuclear weapons, it threatens the existence of Israel. And you know what happens? If anybody threatens the existence of Israel, there's something known as the Samson option. And a lot of people don't know about it, but Israel has at least 100, if not more, nuclear weapons of various types. They have ballistic missiles that can reach Moscow, that they can put warheads on. They have silos in the desert for those missiles, and those are known as the Jericho missiles. They also have some air-launched cruise missiles as well. So this is serious, guys, okay? I'm telling you, they're building up for a massive operation on Iran. It could happen this year before the presidential election. That would be perfect timing because it could delay the election. Okay, but all roads lead to Iran, guys. Iran is the keystone in the Middle East as far as all these different groups, the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, all the proxies that have been attacking our bases. Iran is the keystone supporting all of those groups. Okay, and on top of that, Iran has tripled their enriched uranium production, guys, tripled. Okay, and Netanyahu is clearly saying It's an existential mission to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. And he told Blinken, this must be your mission as well. He also said no one will stop Israel in the war against Hamas. What happened on October 7 will not happen again. And he said that at a press conference in the Kuria military headquarters in Tel Aviv. We are on the path to victory, and we will not stop until we achieve victory. We will not compromise, and we will not stop. Netanyahu said, he told visiting U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken earlier this week, this is not only our war, this is also your war. So, guys, Netanyahu is not backing down, okay? And he wants to go after Hezbollah and Iran, okay? He is a true leader, guys. Netanyahu is a true leader, a true patriot. He loves his people, and he's standing up for his people and what's right. Here we have some video footage coming out of Yemen showing some kind of U.S. or British fighter jet flying along the coastline. This was either today or yesterday. I can't verify exactly where and when this video was taken, but apparently from the coast of Yemen. You can see the jet right there, okay? And Israel informed Egypt that it will carry out a military operation to control the Philadelphia Axis. This is being reported by Israeli Channel 12. The Philadelphia Axis is basically the Egyptian border with Gaza. They want to seal that off to prevent any smuggling of weapons and equipment into Gaza for Hamas. And today there were intense clashes in the West Bank town of Jenin between Israeli special forces and Palestinians. And the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, warned of nuclear war. He said, I want to warn you, the world is about to witness huge events. Today we are in a very difficult situation. The entire planet will catch fire. Wow, guys. I don't know how much clearer it can get, but we are literally on the verge of nuclear war. And in just about a week and a half, the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists is going to update their doomsday clock. Right now, it's at 90 seconds to midnight. My guess is they're going to increase it to 60 seconds to midnight, possibly even 45 seconds or 30 seconds to midnight. But basically, the doomsday clock has never been this close to midnight ever, okay? Even during the height of the Cold War, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, it was at like 1 or 2 minutes to midnight, and we're now at 90 seconds to midnight, okay? So we are the closest we've ever been to nuclear war, okay? Closer than the Cuban Missile Crisis. Guys, the Cuban Missile Crisis was only 2 months, okay? And JFK and Khrushchev sat down and they discussed everything, and the U.S. pulled its missiles out of Turkey and Russia pulled their missiles out of Cuba, and it was over. Okay, we're not seeing that now. We're seeing escalation like crazy around the world, guys. Okay, continuing escalation everywhere. Here we have some satellite images showing the devastation from the U.S. operation in Yemen over the last 2 days. Here we have some type of facility that was hit. You can see on the top here before and then after. Okay, you can see basically the whole facility was just destroyed, nothing left. And then here we have another picture before and after. It looks like some kind of hangars here. They were actually already pretty destroyed, but now they're completely destroyed. Okay, you can see before on the top and after on the bottom. I want to just share some flight paths with you guys. So we have some interesting flights over Virginia and South Carolina. We currently have a nuclear war command and control plane over South Carolina that was out in the Atlantic all day today. And then we also have a Romanian presidential plane over Southern Virginia, and it was looping over Southern Virginia for like 2 or 3 hours. Very bizarre. This is a Boeing 707 3K1C, and the Romanian president uses this plane. So I don't know what's going on here, but it took off from Newport News, and then it was doing loops down here near Blackstone and Chase City, Virginia. Here's that nuclear war command and control plane. Took off from Charleston somewhere. It was doing touch and goes for about the past half an hour after coming in from the Atlantic, and now it's heading north, potentially back to Patuxent River, which is their East Coast home base. I want to just update you guys on this earthquake swarm in Oklahoma. So there hasn't been any new earthquakes reported officially by the USGS. We still have the same number of earthquakes. We had half a dozen earthquakes overnight last night, including 2 4.4 magnitude earthquakes, which the USGS downgraded to 4.3 and 4.1. I actually have a screenshot here of when they had them at 4.4. And then here you can see right now they have it at 4.3 and 4.1. So I don't know if this is part of the New Madrid fault line, but we are overdue for a massive earthquake in the New Madrid fault line. Okay. And here we have the new president of Taiwan, and he is very much in favor of Taiwan's independence from China. China was threatening voters, saying that they put their military on high alert and that the Taiwan people need to vote the right way. So it's possible that, China could invade Taiwan in the coming days before he takes power and before there's a full transition of government. So we have to keep an eye on that. And apparently there was another base that was hit today in Syria. The Islamic resistance in Iraq carried out an attack on the U.S. military base in the Conoco oil field in the eastern Deir ez-Zor region of Syria with missiles or drones. And the Speaker of the House of Representatives here in the U.S. announced that a congressional delegation is going to visit Taiwan this May, and Taiwan detected the presence of Chinese planes and warships near the island today during the elections. And Alexander Dugin, Putin's close advisor, said he believes the timing now is optimal for China to start a military operation in Taiwan. And as of Saturday, today, North Korea appears to have stopped broadcasting on the state-run Pyongyang radio, which is known for broadcasting a series of mysterious numbers presumed to be coded messages giving directions to its agents operating in South Korea. Okay, so these are like secret messages for North Korean spies and sleeper agents inside of South Korea, and they're suddenly stopping those messages. So I don't know if this is a prelude to a full-scale war. That's why they stopped the messages. Very unusual, guys. And here we have some footage coming from Europe showing a massive amount of farmers and truckers blocking a major highway. I don't know if this is in Poland. I don't know if this is in Germany. But we do know that there are multiple countries now in Europe blocking roads. We have a massive protest in Germany ongoing by German farmers and truckers protesting new diesel taxes. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a 25% off sale on their 4-week emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you have to go to preparewithnYPrepper.com. And again, that's 25% off of their 4-week emergency food supply. That's a $60 discount. And the food supply includes over 2,000 calories per day, up to a 25-year shelf life. It's packed into 2 rugged buckets and weighs 38 pounds total. Free shipping is included. And what's great about this is you have 4 weeks of food in just 2 buckets. You can easily put that anywhere. And if you have to bug out, you can easily throw that in your vehicle. Now, My Patriot Supply also has a general store where they sell pretty much any prepping and survival related product you could imagine. To get to their general store, you have to go to the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the preparewithnyprepper.com webpage. You click on that logo and it takes you to their general store, and you can see they have pretty much anything you could imagine. They have potassium iodide at a great price. I have a few of these. They also have survival bars, survival seeds, water filters, solar generators, anything you can imagine. So check out preparewithnyprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. We have Romanian truckers and farmers blockading the Ukrainian border now. We have Polish truckers and farmers blocking the Polish-Ukrainian border. We have Slovakia doing the same thing. So things are really getting crazy over there in Europe. And Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant reportedly stormed out of a meeting of the Israeli War Cabinet today at the Kiryat military base in Tel Aviv after feuding with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. According to an unsourced account reported widely by Hebrew media, Gallant was angered that his chief of staff was not allowed to enter the meeting on the grounds that aides were not allowed in, even though Netanyahu had several of his aides present. "Stop getting in the way of my work," Gallant is quoted as telling Netanyahu and National Security Advisor Chachi Hanegbi before angrily leaving, and then he later rejoined the meeting. So I don't know what's going on over there, but pretty interesting. And the Israeli Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, says the military must continue to operate in the Gaza Strip in order to bring about the defeat of Hamas and the release of the captives the terror group is holding. Today, we approved plans for the Southern Command to continue fighting and increase military pressure on Hamas, pressure that will lead to the dismantling of Hamas and the return of the captives. This pressure, and only it, has so far managed to bring about the return of many captives, Halevi said in a press conference in southern Israel. Okay, so Israel's pushing ahead, guys, okay? They're going to finish up this war soon, and once they finish up, they're going to turn their attention to Hezbollah and Iran. Iran is the big thing, guys, okay? Iran is the main threat here, not Hamas, not Hezbollah, it's Iran. Okay, Iran is on the verge of getting nuclear weapons, and Israel and the U.S. will not allow that to happen. So get prepared, okay, because when Israel and the U.S. launch an operation against Iran, all hell's going to break loose around the world, because in order for them to denuclearize and demilitarize Iran, it's going to have to be a massive operation, much bigger than shock and awe in Iraq, okay? Iran is a huge country. It's like the size of Alaska, and it's very mountainous. They have a lot of their nuclear weapons stored in bunkers under these mountains, so they're going to have to use probably low-yield nuclear weapons to destroy those bunkers, okay? Because Tomahawk missiles are just not powerful enough to destroy those types of bunkers that are reinforced and just absolutely massive. And there was a rally tonight in Israel commemorating 100 days that Hamas has been holding captives, and Poland has updated their laws on conscription. This is another indication that Europe is planning to go to war with Russia, or they're concerned about it. Starting today, January 13th, a new form of conscription card will come into force in the event of mobilization and during war in Poland. The changes in this formula are not major, but for example, information about penalties for failing to report to the army in such situations is more prominent. The new draft card also explains what is meant by the word immediately. The term immediately means that the appointed person should report to the place of appearance specified in the card no later than within 6 hours of receiving information about the announcement of general mobilization or the outbreak of war. Wow, guys. Okay, so Poland is increasing their penalties for people who don't report to army stations if they get a draft card in the mail. And they're also making the time limit 6 hours, that you have to appear within 6 hours of getting the card. Okay, that is crazy, guys. Okay, so Poland is very concerned that the war in Ukraine could spill over into their country. There's already been several Russian missiles that flew into Poland. There's been 3 missiles that flew into Poland, guys. One of them landed in a farm and killed 2 farmers. One of them landed near a NATO base in northwestern Poland. And then one of them flew into Poland and then flew out, apparently. So very concerning, guys. And then Belarus flew a helicopter into Poland. Okay. So things are really escalating there. We have to keep an eye on that region. And I might actually be going there either this year or possibly next year. So I might try to do some live streams from the border of Belarus and Russia and Poland and Lithuania. Okay, let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing something like that. I might also go to Ukraine, because if I make that trip all the way across the world, I might as well go into Ukraine for a little bit. You know, I wouldn't go to like Bakhmut or anything, but I'd probably go into like Kyiv, you know, some of the main cities. But I do want to go to the Polish border with Belarus, the Polish border with Russia. And I also want to go up into the Baltic countries and scope out their border with Russia and Belarus and potentially report live from the border. So let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Potentially this summer, guys. We'll see. Last night, there was a massive missile attack on Ukraine. Russian media reported that they used high precision weapons, including hypersonic Kinzhals, against the Ukrainian military industrial complex. Apparently, they targeted facilities that were producing artillery shells, gunpowder, and drones, and all designated targets were hit. Not much from Ukrainian media on that, okay? Seems like Ukraine is keeping quiet about all these missile strikes now. When they get hit by Russia, they don't report it at all, because they don't want to give Russia a free battle damage assessment, okay? And the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, met with the new head of the French Foreign Ministry, Stephanie Sejournet, and discussed defense needs. He specifically talked about joint production of drones, artillery, and further strengthening of Ukraine's air defense. And U.S. cluster munitions transferred to Ukraine have partially lost their effectiveness on the battlefield, according to the New York Times. At first in September, we would attack large Russian groups, but now they attack with much smaller groups, the Ukrainian platoon commander who fought near Bakhmut told the New York Times. So he's saying that those human wave attacks that Russia was doing with the Wagner group, the cluster munitions were very effective for those, but now Russia adapted and they're not sending in big units like that anymore. Okay, so they're not in an enfiladed position, and now they're sending in smaller units. Okay, and the Palestinian Authority opposes humanitarian aid to Gaza. Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, Mohammed Astaye, said there is no point in introducing aid in light of the continued killing and aggression in the Gaza Strip. Our priority is an immediate ceasefire, and 2 U.S. Navy SEALs are missing after conducting a nighttime boarding mission Thursday off the coast of Somalia, according to 3 U.S. officials. The SEALs were on an interdiction mission climbing up a vessel when one got knocked off by high waves. Under their protocol, when one SEAL is overtaken, the next jumps in after them. Both SEALs are still missing. A search and rescue mission is underway, and the waters in the Gulf of Aden where they are operating are warm, 2 of the U.S. officials said. So because the water is very warm there, they could still be alive, okay, unless the sharks got them. There are a lot of sharks there. But I don't know if I believe this, guys. I don't know. It sounds like a BS cover story. I wouldn't be surprised if this is from that operation, because if you remember during the first operation Thursday night, the Houthis launched a barrage of rockets into the Red Sea. Maybe one of those rockets hit one of our ships, and they're keeping that secret and they're making up this story. Who knows? And the president of Namibia reiterates his call for a ceasefire in Gaza, saying that no peace-loving person can ignore the massacre being carried out against the Palestinians in Gaza. So another country turning against Israel, an African country turning against Israel. And the Bible says a lot of the North African countries will join an alliance with Russia and Iran and Syria and all the Middle Eastern Muslim nations, and they will attack Israel in the latter days during the tribulation period. They're going to violate a peace treaty that they signed with Israel. So we're seeing the beginning stages of that right now, okay? And anti-Israeli protesters are throwing bottles and other objects at U.S. Secret Service agents guarding the White House in Washington, D.C. tonight. And there is some footage out there on social media, but I can't share it here on this platform. And there were riots today in the Netherlands. Apparently, a far-right group was trying to organize a Quran burning demonstration in public, and they were confronted by Islamic radicals and police, and fights ended up breaking out. And the Metropolitan Police of London say they have arrested 3 people for handing out leaflets praising the October 7 attack by Hamas on Israel during a rally today against Israel's ongoing military offensive in Gaza. So I'm glad that the police in London arrested these people for handing out these leaflets condoning the Hamas attack on Israel. And here we have some footage coming out of Rostov-on-Don in Russia. And there is some kind of a blackout over there. Check this out, guys. I don't know if this is from a cyber attack. I don't know if this is like a brownout. You know, we know that Russia has been having infrastructure issues for the last month or so. There's been heating issues, power issues in Moscow and Rostov and various areas in Russia. So I don't know if this is related to that or if this is related to something else. But you can see the whole city is just pitch black. Look at that, guys. That is absolutely insane. And we do have an Arctic blast heading into the United States right now. I want to show you guys the latest warnings across the lower 48. You can see here the entire lower 48, for the most part, is under a wind chill advisory, with the exception of the southwest and the southeast. But pretty much the entire Midwest and even down into northern Texas are under wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings. And I want to just show you guys the temperatures right now. We have minus 19 degrees Fahrenheit in Great Falls, Montana. We have minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit in Billings, Montana, minus 17 in Bismarck, minus 10 in Rapid City, minus 17 in Mitchell, minus 15 in Omaha. Absolutely insane, guys. Oklahoma City is down to 16 degrees. Dallas is down to 39 degrees right now. Okay, so temperatures are plummeting, and I want to show you guys in the future what's going to happen. So you can see that this cold air is going to spread to the east more and to the south. But I think the extreme Arctic air is going to mostly stay in the Midwestern states this time around. It will get colder in the eastern part of the country and the southern part of the country, but the real extreme cold is going to be mostly in the Midwest, okay, for this one. It's possible that another Arctic blast may hit us in another week or two. But here you can see temperatures moderating by mid to late next week, with mostly just 20s and teens across the northern U.S. here, and most of that super cold air retreating back into Canada by next Friday. So that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon below so you get notified when I post these updates. And until then, have a good night. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.